Hoorah! I am Dr. Minister Vermont Princ for the Aum Institut, Church of Christ Consciousness for Worldwide Hope. It's all about the supreme holiness of the woman, rooted in the sacred truth of her sexuality. She holy. In part 3 of They're Trying to Kill Us, we'll continue to build on the information that we have already imparted. That if you look at this whole page right here as the universe, you have the real sun, you have this object here, which is the earth, you have this right here, which is the firmament, you have a lamp embedded in the firmament, you have this object here, which is going to be the moon, and then you're going to have Saturn over here at some point, which is a box. You know, they call it a planet, Saturn. It's actually, but we've already touched on it. There's a fake sun and a real sun. I mean, a real sun and a fake sun. That there's a firmament around the earth, which is keeping us encased. It's a EMP, electromagnetic pulse. No, not electromagnetic pulse. Electromagnetic field. That this where's that firmament at? That firmament. There we go. Firmament. Electromagnetic field. And this electromagnet, first we got to continue to explain about the sun rays. That's where we left off at the same last time. We said that the sun emits rays, and these rays, at the tip of these rays, they are photons. Photons are necessary to feed our melanin, which all beings here have, and it helps the evolution of our consciousness and our being. Photons also unlock our DNA codons, which are necessary for us to receive the messages, because we don't just evolve or become more enlightened because we do. We evolve or become more enlightened because we receive the necessary information. Think about it. When you're a child, you need certain information to help you grow into your adulthood. That's what the photons do. They contain information. All the information, everything that you can possibly know exists already, and is out there floating around, and it's being emitted by the sun. They build this firmament around it to prevent the sun from getting in, the sunlight from getting in. It still gets in, but not as much, and not as abundantly as it should. Therefore, a lot of people become vitamin D deficient and so forth and so on. Vitamin E deficient, different things. But what's actually happening is that there are a group of people here that know this value. They know all of this. They know what this value, the value of this. So, or in ancient times, they still know the value, but they knew the value, and they built this dome here. And this dome has a filter on it, not unlike a pair of shades or a tinted window on a car or a house or whatever, and it blocks a certain amount of the sunlight from getting through. That's what it's meant to do, and that's what it does. It's very similar to this. When you look at this, you see the sun here shining on the earth, bathing the sun in rays, bathing the sun in rays, bathing the sun in rays. This is actually a teaching that'll come a little later. Then they put the firmament here. You see not so much rays. They're really faint. They're really faint. They barely reach everything. That's what's going on. That's what happens. That's what this is for. It's to keep this out. Because with this, we wouldn't be able to be in a state of being batteries that we are. There's a small number of people, a small percentage of people, the EOS, enemies of truth, whom have this information, and they want to keep the rest of the population dumbed down so that they can make us compete against each other while simultaneously working together to feed their system. And the main thing that they want from us is not just our labor, but they want our frequency, our energy. They want. That's why they create certain news events and certain happenings to make us feel a certain way collectively, like a tragedy or a scare tactic or something, so they can pull our energy as one frequency and feed off of it, and it actually empowers their structure here. This is a computer. It needs to be powered. Up here you got the moon, down here you got the Saturn, and I'll go into that. It looks a lot like, you know, conductors and stuff like that, which it really is. And this atmospheric layer. These atmospheric layers are not naturally here. They're produced by the firmament. The firmament, which is a EMF, produces a EMP, electromagnetic frequency. Pulse, pardon me. And as it does this, it creates these layers. These layers are to prevent us from getting through to this firmament and tampering with it. Not that it's that easy to tamper with, but they don't even want you to know that you're encased in this. That's very important to them, that you remain oblivious. And when you look up into the sky, you say, oh, I see the stars, I see the moon, I see this and I see that, because they're dealing with a holographic simulation. They can make you see what they need you to see by putting that hologram. Same way you look at the television and you see characters on the TV, but they're not inside of the television. They're actually somewhere else, but it's being projected there. It's similar to this. You see space, but you're not seeing space. You're seeing a projection that's being projected through these two objects, that's making it appear that you can see all of this when you really can't. Because if you can see all of this, you will actually be aware that, like, why is there a sun here and another sun? Like, and people have seen two suns. That's not, a lot of people have admitted they call it a black sun and a yellow sun or whatever. But people have definitely said that. Now, I've already showed you in the scriptures in Genesis 1 through 5 the real sun, and I've showed you the 14 to 19 with the lamp. I've showed you the 1 through the 8, or the 5 through 8 with the firmament. Pardon me. But it wasn't 5 through 8. But these are some of the things that's very important. They mention these things because they're trying to tell you what's really going on. Now it's up to you whether you deal with that and you accept it for what it is or not. But they have already told you what's going on, actually. Now, when you go into this, like you look in the book of Matthew, chapter 13, verses 10 through 13, you're going to see that Jesus speaks about the secret science, the teaching, and this teaching is known as Itaqua. This speaks of it finally being a stage of this history or life where the Bible doctrine is meant to be properly interpreted or expounded on as Itaqua. Just briefly. And the disciples came unto her. I say her, they're speaking about Jesus here, because Jesus Christ actually is a woman, not a man. Never was a man. That was part of the conspiracy. But that's a whole nother thing. We have actually segments on Jesus Christ as a woman, and we break that down. Just as we have another segment called Take Him to Church, where we break down other things that have been hidden in the scriptures and outside. And the disciples came unto her, why speaketh thou unto them in parables? Which means, why do you speak to the people you're teaching, the masses, the public, in parables, mean riddles? She answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. What that means, simple and plain, is to you, you're allowed to know this. I don't speak to you in riddles because I want you to get it. You have earned the right to know without being put through all kinds. You've already passed trials and tribulations. So therefore I can explain it to you plainly because you have qualified. They don't qualify yet. So therefore I have to speak to them in riddles until they earn the right to know. For whosoever have, to them shall be given, and they shall have more abundance. But whoever have not, whosoever have not, to them shall be taken away even that they have. Which means whoever possesses in a bit of awareness, more will be given to them. But to those who don't possess that, you're gonna continue to be dumb, deaf, and blind. Not physically, but spiritually. So as you catch on to one thing, it opens the door for 2 things, and 3 things, and 4 things, like a domino effect. You see one thing, then you start seeing other things.